Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. We're kicking off our rapid-fire roundup of what's currently buzzing on X. Today, we've filtered through the noise to bring you 11 significant posts. Yeah, spanning technology, global affairs, and some critical market shifts. Our mission here, give you a crisp, real-informed snapshot of what's truly impactful, offering valuable insights and, fostering a balanced, constructive dialogue. So get ready for a brisk, energetic, and direct deep dive into today's most talked about topics, kicking things off with a post that generated a lot of concern. This is from @terrible808. She writes, over 50 kids have gone missing in Virginia in less than 2 weeks, and no one is talking about it. No Amber Alerts either. What is going on? https.t.co. Z is key T, ZTWQ. Okay, that sounds incredibly unsettling, doesn't it? Let's unpack this.
It absolutely does, and it's precisely the kind of post that can quickly go viral, trigger widespread anxiety. But a closer look at the facts reveals a bit of a different story. Virginia State Police data for August 3rd to 9th, 2025 shows 88 children were reported missing. Now, while that number catches your eye...
Yeah, 88 sounds like a lot.
It does, but it's actually below their 2025 weekly average of 98. And since January... 3,274 children have been reported missing statewide. But as of August 13th, only 141 of those cases, that's about 4%, remain unresolved. The vast majority, police clarify, are runaways who return home pretty quickly.
Okay, so context is key here. What about the Amber Alert part?
Right. As for the lack of Amber Alerts, the criteria simply weren't met. Amber Alerts are reserved for confirmed abductions where there's evidence of imminent danger, which, wasn't the situation here. This whole episode, it really illustrates how quickly information, or maybe misinformation, can spread on social media. It amplifies public anxiety, even when official data offers a more, let's say, reassuring context.
And it's important to remember, Virginia proactively forwards every single missing child case to national databases like NCMEC.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, yeah.
Right, which naturally inflates the raw reported numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But this doesn't indicate an unusual spike in actual abduction. So what does this all mean for you? It's a powerful reminder of the importance of seeking out verified information, maybe double-checking before hitting share.
Absolutely. Cultivating critical thinking is just essential in our digital age.
Okay, let's shift gears to the economy. We've got this from @WatcherGuru, just DIN. Suresh, U.S. PPI rises to 3.3%, higher than expectations.
Wow.
So, the Producer Price Index, PPI, signaling earlier inflationary pressure than maybe people anticipated.
Exactly. This report is fresh off the presses today, August 14th, from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. It indicates that the cost of goods and services for producers is, it's on the rise. And we've seen from research, like from Investopedia, that higher inflation often correlates with lower equity valuations, mostly due to increased market volatility.
Okay.
So this uptick could mean that the crypto market's recent, $4.1 trillion surge. Forbes reported that yesterday might face a significant correction if these inflation fears really gain traction.
Interesting timing too, right?
Well, that's the other thing. What's particularly striking is the timing. This economic data point drops just as we're heading into a pretty high-stakes Trump-Putin meeting tomorrow in Anchorage. The BBC reported on that. So you have geopolitical stability or potential instability and this inflation data now intertwined.
Right.
Which could amplify market reactions, potentially complicating, any purely bullish outlook for various market sectors.
This isn't just a number, it's a signal. Watch how global events and economic data keep weaving together and reshaping markets. The interconnectedness is undeniable.
It really is.
Okay, sticking with inflation, this next post from @ZeroHedge really highlighted a specific, rather eye-popping number. Prices for fresh and dry vegetables jumped 38.9%. Wow. A nearly 40% leap in one category. That's genuinely significant.
It is.
Yeah.
That specific jump is indeed jarring, especially when you contrast it with the broader producer price index increase, which was only 0.9% month over month.
A difference.
Huge difference. And that disparity strongly suggests localized supply shocks, very possibly linked to extreme weather events. Consider a 2023 NOAA study, which documented a striking 67% rise in billion-dollar weather disasters affecting U.S. agriculture. That directly impacts crop yields and, prices.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And USDA data consistently shows how climate stress and reduced yields can create these volatile fruit and vegetable prices. This specific sector spike also complicates things for the Federal Reserve, their broader focus on rate cuts, because when inflation in particular sectors outpaces the general measures,
It throws a wrench in the works.
kinda, yeah. It creates a different kind of economic pressure. Now, historical analysis, like from the Economic Research Service, suggests these types of jumps are often short-term disruptions rather than sustained, widespread inflation. But
the impact on your grocery bill is immediate.
exactly, it's tangible for consumers right away.
So this isn't just about the overall inflation rate. It's a vivid reminder that economic pressure isn't always uniform. Sometimes it's laser-focused on very specific things, like what's on your dinner plate.
And the reasons can be as complex as global weather patterns.
All right, building on that broader economic picture, Echo Piece of Letter digs a bit deeper into the latest inflation numbers. They posted, breaking. July PPI inflation rises to 3.3%, above expectations of 2.5%. Core PPI inflation rose to 3.7%, also above expectations of 2.9%. Month-over-month PPI inflation is now at its hottest since March 2022. The Fed remains in a very difficult spot here. This directly connects to what we were just talking about with PPI. Here's where it gets really interesting.
It absolutely does.
Okay.
The July 2025 Producer Price Index inflation surged 3.3% total, 3.7% core significantly beat forecasts. Expectations were, 2.5% and 2.9%?
Right.
And that core number, which strips out volatile stuff like food and energy, often gives the Fed a clearer picture of underlying inflationary trends. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics data released today, this reflects a considerable uptick in producer costs, levels we haven't seen since March 2022.
So what does this mean for the Fed?
Well, this unexpected rise really puts pressure on their dual mandate, maintaining price stability while also fostering maximum employment. It's a balancing act. A 2023 Federal Reserve study, for instance, highlighted how persistent producer inflation often precedes consumer inflation. That complicates their decisions on interest rates.
And consumer inflation.
Well, the July CPI data showed a 2.7% rise, with core goods inflation at a two-year high. And then you have these ongoing, sometimes conflicting claims about how tariff policies might be impacting these prices too.
Right, the tariff discussion.
Yeah, so it demands a critical look at the underlying drivers. What factors are truly at play here?
The Fed's balancing act between controlling inflation and supporting employment just got even trickier. And that has very real implications for, your financial outlook.
Definitely a space to watch.
Now, for something with a decidedly celebratory tone, this is from @MAGAVoice. Breaking, Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent stuns America by saying, we're on track to soar past $300 billion in tariff revenue. Nobody thought this was possible. Tariffs absolutely work. https://tul.colo04-14. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's projection of over $300 billion in tariff revenues. It does indeed challenge some previous skepticism about tariffs as a major revenue generator. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, for instance, had estimated $1.3 trillion in net new revenue through Trump's term, and maybe $2.8 trillion by 2034, figures that initially struck some as, highly ambitious.
But the numbers seem to be heading that way.
Well, the administration is certainly highlighting strong current numbers, while criticisms persist, that these tariffs burden consumers and businesses through higher import costs.
Which is the standard argument against them.
Right, but the sheer volume of revenue being generated is substantial. In July 2025 alone, they reported $28.4 billion in tariff revenue. That's more than triple the amount from late last year. So what's intriguing here is how tariffs, often debated just as protectionist tools, are now being strategically framed as a significant federal revenue stream.
It shifts the narrative.
Exactly. It shifts the economic discourse around their utility beyond just trade policy.
So while those revenue numbers are certainly eye-catching, it does start debate over who truly benefits from these tariffs and, their long-term economic impact. It's definitely a complex equation.
Very much so. Lots of moving parts.
Okay, let's pivot to the world of big money and investment giants. This breaking news comes from @UnusualWhales. They tweeted, breaking. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway shows a new stake in United Health Group UNH. It cut stake in Apple AAPL. Warren Buffett's moves, always closely watched. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Absolutely. Berkshire Hathaway buying a new stake in United Health Group, UNH, a huge health insurer, 51 million members globally. It signals a very strategic shift towards healthcare. This move could be anticipating significant growth in that industry, an industry that, according to a 2025 Forbes analysis, is grappling with rising cybersecurity risks, but also offers, considerable potential.
And cutting Apple.
Right, the corresponding reduction in their Apple holdings, AAPL, a tech giant with a $3 trillion market cap. It might reflect Buffett's or Berkshire's cautious stance on tech valuations right now. Apple stock surged 20% in 2025, outpacing the S&P 500, and there are broader concerns about market overextension, perhaps. This move lines up with Berkshire's recent 13F filing trends. It suggests a pivot from high-flying tech towards more stable sectors like healthcare, especially given United Health's solid 15% revenue growth reported in 2024.
So it highlights that even investment giants like Berkshire are strategically navigating these volatile waters, shifting focus to what they see as stable, growing sectors.
It's a powerful reminder that even the most established players are constantly reevaluating.
Okay, our next post is short, sweet, and to the point. It's from @Elon Musk. Just a laughing emoji. But while it's just an emoji, it links to some fascinating content that, well, it speaks volumes. Okay, let's unpack this one.
Right. That laughing emoji from Elon Musk refers to a humorous meme he shared.
Yeah.
And it's directly mocking Jeff Bezos. It clearly references their ongoing rivalry, especially in the space industry.
What's the meme actually show?
The meme itself is pretty specific. It was apparently created using Grok Imagine, which is an AI tool developed by Musk's company, XAI. It depicts Musk holding a rocket while Bezos is shown with a large book titled Jeff Who Bookkeeper.
Okay.
Yeah, it playfully alludes to Bezos' early career and Amazon starting as an online bookstore, contrasting it sharply with Musk's space ventures.
And this isn't the first time, right?
No, this public sparring isn't new. We saw similar interactions back in 2021, like when Musk openly laughed at a meme about Bezos' spaceflight being only suborbital. The use of Grok Imagine here is also kind of significant. It's a clear sign of advancements in AI for generating multimedia content that then influences social media interaction.
Right. AI playing a role in satire and competition now.
Exactly, showcasing AI's growing role in creating this kind of content.
So even billionaire rivalries are now playing out with advanced AI-generated memes. Welcome to the digital age of competitive humor, I guess.
It's another example of how quickly tech impacts online culture.
Speaking of things that might make you laugh, or maybe cry, let's look at this next post from @WallStreetApes. They write, "This is why Vegas tourism is down, Taz. American shows prices for food and drinks by a Vegas pool bucket of 24 Coors Light, $290.99, 24 High Noon Seltzers, $309.99. Basic cocktails like a Bloody Mary, $39.99, 12 shots, $190. Just look at this good and drink menu. The prices are image link implied."
Wow.
Those numbers are absolutely shocking. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, those prices are indeed exorbitant. A bucket of Coors Light for over $290. A Bloody Mary for almost $40. That's significantly higher than typical nightclub prices in Vegas, which are usually, $10 to $20 a drink.
Way higher.
And these inflated prices seem to be part of a broader trend impacting Vegas tourism. Since the start of 2025, tourism in the city has actually dropped by 7%, partly due to rising travel costs generally, but also, interestingly, a Canadian boycott reported by CBC News.
So it's not just the poolside prices.
It seems to be part of a bigger picture. This current focus on, let's call it profit maximization, contrasts sharply with Vegas's historical model. In the past, the strategy, sometimes attributed to the mob, was cheap food and drinks to encourage gambling, keep people in the casinos.
Loss leaders, basically.
Exactly. These current pricing strategies might be worsening the slump in visitor numbers and potentially alienating that middle-class demographic that once made Vegas such a popular spot.
So the shift in Vegas isn't just about rising costs. It seems like a fundamental change in their business model, moving from attracting gamblers with affordable lures to maybe maximizing revenue on every single visitor interaction.
It could really change the city's appeal and its target audience long term.
Okay, moving on to policy and public spaces. This next post from @NWokeness makes a very direct statement. Breaking. Homeless camps cleared in D.C. Pro-Trump's orders, https://pghuvsqfwria. This certainly has strong implications. Okay, let's unpack this.
Right. The video linked in the post shows a Caterpillar skid steer loader, actively clearing debris from a homeless encampment in Washington, D.C. This action is presented as part of President Trump's directive. The stated aim is enhancing city safety and aesthetics. It reflects a broader policy shift towards, stricter enforcement of public order.
What's the strategy behind it?
The administration's stated strategy here is to address homelessness by clearing encampments. They say they offer residents options like shelters or treatment, but also impose fines or even potential jail time for noncompliance. What's important context here, though, is that this initiative is happening amidst a backdrop of actually declining crime rates in D.C.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which somewhat contradicts the portrayal of a widespread crime epidemic sometimes used to justify these actions. And this kind of federal intervention in local governance often meets resistance from local leaders and advocates.
Right.
They argue these approaches lack compassion and, crucially, fail to provide effective long-term solutions for homelessness itself.
So this highlights a highly debated approach to a really complex social issue, with significant implications for how cities manage public spaces and vulnerable populations. It definitely sparks discussion about federal versus local control, too.
Absolutely. It's a point of major contention.
All right, this next post from @GuntherRiegelman makes a huge claim and implies a contradiction. Spraking. President Trump said 275,000 illegal aliens have been kicked off of Social Security. This is huge E. I thought the Democrats swore that illegals weren't eligible for Social Security assistance. https://t2so500bxrqf. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, President Trump did announce this during a speech marking the 90th anniversary of the Social Security Act. He claimed his administration removed approximately 275,000 individuals identified as illegal aliens from the Social Security benefit system. However, and this is crucial, this claim is contested. Some reports suggest the actual number might be lower, and the specifics of how these individuals were identified and removed remain, frankly, unclear.
Okay, so the number itself is debated. What about the eligibility part?
Right. U.S. policy is quite clear. Undocumented immigrants are generally ineligible for Social Security benefits unless they obtain legal resident status. What's often overlooked in this debate, though, is that they do contribute to the Social Security Trust Fund through payroll taxes.
So they pay in but generally can't collect.
Correct. And those contributions can amount to significant sums annually. Now, politically, this move aligns with Trump's broader immigration policies and his focus on reducing fraud. Some argue it strengthens Social Security for citizens. On the other hand, experts, like those at the Center for American Progress, warn that removing these contributors could actually accelerate the program's path towards insolvency, because undocumented immigrants have historically been net contributors.
Paying in more than they take out, essentially.
That's the argument, yes, since they generally don't draw benefits.
So this isn't a simple black and white issue at all. It's a complex economic and social challenge with significant debate on both sides regarding its impact on Social Security's long-term future. You really need the full picture.
Absolutely. Contributions versus benefits.
Our final post for today comes from @EricEldo and takes us straight into political speculation. It's just in. Gavin Newsom is claiming Donald Trump will run for a third term as president in 2028. Mark my word, these guys are not screwing around. I received in the mail a Trump 2028 hat. OMGET https://KAITWKHPWNDF. That certainly has some dramatic flair. Okay, let's unpack this last one.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom's claim that Donald Trump might run for a third term in 2028. It's very likely a strategic political move. It seems designed to rally his own political base, maybe position himself as a defender of democratic norms, especially given Trump's own past comments about potentially serving another term and the whole constitutional debate around term limits.
And the hat.
Well, the mention of receiving a Trump 2028 hat in the mail, that could easily be interpreted as Newsom leveraging a symbolic gesture to amplify his narrative, even though the actual likelihood of Trump running for, let alone serving, a third term is constitutionally very low. Trump himself has even indicated he would probably not seek a third term.
So it's more about the messaging for Newsom.
It seems plausible. This rhetoric also aligns with Newsom's broader political strategy. We see his recent activities, the ongoing speculation about his own presidential ambitions for 2028, where he's currently favored over other Democrats on betting platforms like Polymarket, interestingly enough.
So in the dynamic world of politics, even the most improbable claims can become part of a strategic narrative, used to shape public opinion and influence future races. It's all about the messaging.
Politics is often about narrative building, yes.
And that wraps up today's daily vibe casting. We've certainly covered a wide range of topics today, from, debunking social media hoaxes and analyzing market shifts to delving into corporate strategy and understanding the nuances of political maneuvers.
Yeah, quite a mix. And it raises an important question, doesn't it? How do we, as consumers of information, critically assess the buzz and understand the deeper implications behind the headlines we see every day?
Absolutely. That's the key question. Consider how much of what you see trending is a reflection of actual events versus perhaps strategic messaging. And what does that mean for how you stay informed? Until next time, keep digging for the deeper story.